far as I can see, I'd like to quote. I had one quote. If people can remember Moore's law, what Moore's law states is that the computation capacity of electronic devices and chips will multiply every year. So right now, what I feel is that the Moore's law has been somewhat surpassed, and the next law is the law of expanding data. So data is everywhere, and data science is all about optimizing the data available with humans, putting it into different algorithms so that it churns out us meaningful insights. So it's like it could be everywhere, biomedicals, or it could be geological research, space research. If people have data science is the thing. I mean, like that is it's how things will operate very soon everywhere. So that's my notion about it. Since I come from an electronics background, I didn't have much idea how to go about Python programming and all. I have a good idea with drones. I have a good idea with 3D printers, electronic hardware, breadboard circuit making. But Python and doing stuff inside the computer was something new to me. It had been almost like what 3 years since I finished my master's, so I was looking forward to finding out what's happening in AI. So that was the main introduction part, wherein I got introduced to TensorFlow, I got introduced to convolution neural networks, deep learning, and all. And after that, I believe in self research. So I've been exploring a lot of people. I've been connecting to a lot of people, trying to work on a lot of projects, and I believe in teaching while learning. So that's why I created an open source YouTube channel as well. I'm working on it. It does take up a lot of my time. Instead of just trying to learn new things every day, I'm trying to document all of that. So that is how my process or progress has been so far. And I've just been introduced to this field like what 8 or 9 months ago. Prior to that, it was mostly electronics and embedded hardware. Since I'm a school teacher, I have to wake up very early. I mean, like I get ready around like I start up at 5:30 or 6 in the morning. So and after that, uh, I'd be teaching school children. Currently, I'm teaching class 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. The STEM related course, that is robotics. And after that, I try my level best to make sure that my work doesn't affect my company in any way. And parallel to that, I'm always researching, so I get quite a flexible amount of time to work on the office work as well as my own work. So I believe in productivity on a daily basis. So I never like it if I can't be productive even on a single day. I'd rather go slow, but I need to do something new every day. So I try to keep a list of all the projects that I need to work on. I check them off every time I finish. And next, I'm trying to explore AI and games. I mean, like reinforcement learning. And so these are the new topics that I'd like to venture into. So my day pretty much is like read more, apply more, and try to be as productive as possible. As far right now, currently, the least favorite part would be I have a good creative, I have a good analytical way of looking at things. But then again, mathematics, since my childhood, hasn't been a very strong subject of mine. So, and the way I learn is I like to apply them everything that I want to learn. I want to have a touch and feel of real world applications. So even if in school, if they talked about differential or integration, I never caught up the real meaning of what a differential means. Where can I really apply it in real life? So the biggest challenge right now is to understand neural networks and apply all of that on Python and Anaconda, and all of that is good. But then again, what's happening on the back propagation? How is a sigmoid activation function, and how are all of these functions working? So that is my biggest challenge. I try to read up, and I know slowly and steadily, if you are consistent enough, there will be no concept that you cannot work on. And the best part, what I'm currently waiting for is I have a good hand on coding in embedded C and electronics. Not very good, but then again, on Arduino, I can just make just about any kind of a project. It would take time, but I can make it. So currently, what I'm waiting is something like an AI hardware. So I'm planning to get started with Raspberry Pi as well, wherein I'll be able to apply all of the things that I used to do inside of my laptop, and I'd like to put it in the actual hardware. And the most fun part is the day where I would be able to automate something using AI. So it could be any kind of a sensor interface, any kind of a hardware interface, but the backend should be AI. So that's the most exciting aspect that my journey would be all about. Now, I'd like to give you one particular image classification problem. So generally what I do is I have a lot of conversation with my father regarding the projects that I'm doing and all. But since he comes from a commerce background, it gives me a non-technical perspective. So I'd like to tell you, one day I was just on a phone call. I was asking him, what kind of a project can I work on when it comes to image classification? I gave an example. I can classify cats and dogs and this and that. So my father said, is it possible to identify counterfeit currency notes versus the real currency notes? I started with the data set. I downloaded a few images and then I realized it won't be very easy because I knew image classification, but I did not totally understand how mask RCNN or how segmentation of images work. So I could not identify if it was a real currency note or a fake one. But then again, I made a project where you have a 10 rupee currency note, a 50 rupee currency note, and a 500 currency note, and 2000 rupee currency note. I had these samples like what 200 images of each set, and now it is able to classify the images with a very nice precision and recall. So whatever, if you put some image from the internet also for 50
Mm.
rupee note, the it is able to classify. And then I did a little Google text to speech wherein it plays back. So pretty much my thought there was, if using Raspberry Pi I could put a camera in there and a blind person could actually hear what particular currency note that is. So yes, it went out. So I think that was a project that I feel during my learning phase, I feel good.
Cool.
Okay, so there is always a good debate about Python and R. And let me tell you, I come from no standpoint to even talk about what is Python or R. But then again, from the people whom I followed, it's more like both of them are good. So it's nothing like R is good or Python is good. So people can get started with anything. Even in there, I don't like to understand the basics too much. I like to jump into the code and understand what that code speaks about. And based on that, I do my reverse engineering on what else I need to learn about. So it's more like a reverse engineering top to bottom approach that I follow. Apart from that, yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. I like the Anaconda Navigator, the Jupyter Notebook, and wherein I'm able to install all the packages the best way possible. So yeah, definitely these particular tools are good. Currently, like I'd like to tell you, data science has become such a buzzword right now. So I believe there are a lot of people who, even if they're from statistics background or any person from trying to switch from the computer background, and I've seen many professionals, many veterans out there stating that let's not overhype this word, because right now what I can say is that the people from the computer science and the IT background are the ones who will definitely want to get into this because it's quite new. Computation power has just increasing, so the enterprise also would be able to invest in GPUs and try to run their machine learning or deep learning models more efficiently. So yeah, I think people always require new people whom they can train at a lower salary, and still it makes both ends meet, both for the founder and the new people who are joining in. So yeah, definitely it all depends on what kind of a training people are getting, what kind of a community they are trying to make, how many competitions are being organized wherein they're actually checking how competent these students are, so that they can be taken by the actual like what industry giants who are actually into it, like Amazon or Apple and the rest of the many companies like Google, and or they could start their own startup ecosystem. The entire agenda is they should be backed up with the actual knowledge, not just get started. So I believe there will be a huge amount of people who'd like to get into it,
Mm.
especially the students who are going to start graduating this year onwards. Definitely. My style of working has always been to stay comfortable, work on the projects that you actually like. And since I deal from the K-12 segment, since a long time, my strong point has been teaching. I do a good amount of research, but I'm not a full-on researcher. So as far as such a question is concerned, I believe they need to research. They need to get connected with more people. They need to get connected with the HR people. Have a look at the job profile. What is the minimum expectation? How good you are at coding? So it's all about the job profile. So I'd say it will be a big challenge for everyone, because now these days everyone is asking for people with at least 2 years of experience or at least 1 year of experience. So it's all about getting an internship, performing well in that internship, and then only I believe that's the best route to take. AI, since it's all about the computation power, the day we have handheld devices that are as powerful as GPUs, I think it's a complete win-win over there. So AI is not going anywhere. It will only be embedded into a lot of processes. It's going to automate a lot of stuff. So yeah, it's the future is going to be all AI, guaranteed.
Okay.
To be particularly honest, what I could see is that for me, machine learning is more about crunching Excel sheet data, and data science is the science of handling data. So machine learning, I believe, is a subset of data science.
Right.
So yeah, so it is more like the mother is data science and the subset is machine learning. So it's a, yeah, it's a very generic word. Yeah, I'm not sure if I'll be able to define data science as one in a single sentence as I can possibly define what a computer is. No, no, I don't think so. But I'll definitely tell you, if a student, since his first year in college, is working hard enough, definitely he's going to beat any other person who is possibly in electronics and then he starts working hard. It's all about the number of hours or the number of effort that people have put. But as far as transitioning is concerned, it's all about any person. If he's a self-learner, if he can catch up a lot of new stuff easily, like let's say if they can start exploring about 3D printer in their leisure time, or if they can explore aero modeling, or if they can explore drones. So it's all about how good you are at catching the new subject and the process of self-learning. So it's the amount of time that you're willing to put. But definitely if someone is starting from the first year onwards, I'm particularly sure, and if he or she works hard, definitely they're going to be much more efficient than anyone trying to switch to this field.
Yeah.
If it is possible, yes. I think it's always a cross
Uh,
because it all depends on what your company or what you guys are actually doing. And I'm definitely sure that if there is someone who has spent some like what 6 or 10 years in the machine learning field, and all of a sudden if they want to switch, I'm not particularly sure why would they want to do that, because 6 or 10 years is a long amount of time. And I believe transitioning will always be tough because the more experience a person gets, the more proficient they want the rest of the people to be. So I believe it's better to pre-plan everything and not expect that sudden transition after 10 or 15 years, regardless of how good you are in your previous field, will guarantee that you will be a success. So yeah, I would say is one point would be the plan of action. They should at least follow the people who are into data science, or they should go and look up on Google on what all of these online courses are offering, and they he or she needs to be particularly sure about the syllabus that people are following, and they just need to jump into it. It's all about do you have spare time, can you have a good work life balance, can you work in your office and still give extra time to learn new concepts? Definitely yes. It's nothing like it's not undoable. Definitely it is possible. Anyone can get started as far as I believe it's the person who has the data, because yeah, it's the person with the data, he who understands the data, and then the people who get to play around with the data will have the coolest roles. Yeah. So
okay.
yeah, yes.
If s-
What I would say is that they should, even I am going to learn this particular aspect of it. It's about competing in Kaggle is definitely one thing that I would recommend them. So they need to get started with a few projects on their own. They need to know how to set up the environment on their laptop or on GPU or on cloud. After that, they need to start competing on Kaggle. They need to start reading stuff on towards data science or analytics with their. They need to be just they need to just jump into it because it's not going to be a easy affair. It won't be very easy because
okay,
they'll have to spend a good amount of time. I would say at least 8 months or 10 months to have a touch and feel of even what's actually happening. So the better they start, the better. Definitely, the
okay,
faster you start, the better. Yes. Apart from that, there are lots and lots of universities currently offering like about 6 months or 1 year degrees. So you need to check with the kind of thing that they are providing, the syllabus that they are providing, and the university that you're comfortable with. Because as far as I can say, the basics are somewhat like what all the courses currently available in India, the basics are somewhat still the same. 70% of the content is still the same. It's only that 30% that differentiates. So I believe a good learner should look at the background of the organization that is giving the course. They should have a look at the instructors of the course, and it's all a personal suggestion or an opinion because it all depends on the amount of money a person has. So if you have got money to spare and if you have the time to go through the content that people are providing, then these courses are good. But then again, after in the end, I would say self exploration, if you don't have money, would be a bit tough, but then again, that's something you need to do. Finally, there are a lot of YouTube channels that they can start exploring, but it's all about working hard. What I currently do is I use LinkedIn. You need to put your location, you need to put a job post, just type in AI internships, or I can recommend people to go to Google, type in Google, like let's say I stay at Delhi NCR, they need to type in AI or ML or deep learning internships, jobs, Delhi/NCR, press enter. I'll definitely tell you there are a lot of people, and it's all about you just jumping into it. I would say there's nothing like a very good internship as long as the company is doing a good job, you like the place. I should say you should have an experience of that. It's all about connections. Get your LinkedIn profile ready, connect with as many people as possible, stay updated, get started with projects, ask questions on forums, ask questions to people, have a look at the syllabus that a lot of people are offering and just jump into it. There's no other option. Hope the answers were honest and to the extent how I feel about this particular subject.